How's that song?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
FFF episode 2000.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Not many podcasts get to 2000. Just want to say it's time to gloat and go yay. This show has been going on for 2000 FF episodes. That's pretty cool. We've been doing all kinds of things on this show and the Cafe Anyway characters and dealing with things. And so that's it. 2000 episodes.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Seems like yesterday we hit 1,000. And I had a bunch of people over at my house, and
Mike's
then I had to clean up after them.
Daily
So I didn't do that again.
Podcast.
Besides, there's a COVID-19 thing happening.
Yeah!
Hey, you know what exciting thing I get to do tomorrow is yet another meeting about COVID-19. What are we doing? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on? Another meeting. Another meeting. Yes, another meeting. And every time I go to a meeting, it takes time away from me that I can be working on things. It's like we're stocking for 3 winters worth of nuts. We're squirrels in this metaphor, in this scenario, in this analogy. We're stocking up for 3 winters worth of nuts at the same time trying to do business as usual. It's ridiculous. And everybody else is maxed out, and we're still being told by people that are staying at home, probably playing video games. They ain't doing much. They're at home just doing a lot of that. While I'm still going to work and taking care of things. I'm getting a little fed up with it, a little tired of it. I think my patience will be a little bit snappy tomorrow, because I'll have yet another meeting to go to. Yet it's FF episode 2000, and yes, it's good to have this show because, well, let's see, I didn't even mention what happened in 1999, did I, as far as stuff went in the world, and as far as music goes, because...
And here's today's podcast picture.
I'm a bit of a music fan. Well, it was the millennial in 1999, and I think, didn't Will Smith do a crazy song where he sampled Rockin' the Casbah, and at one point he mentions the millennial. And so, if you think about it, very few of us will actually live the length of a millennial. And to those that do, well, congrats. But it still is an interesting thing. And Basil the Boxer, I think, is going to bark in just a moment. Yes, there he is. Uh-huh. You like that millennial song? Okay. So the podcast picture today, we'll get to in a moment. But yes, so 1999, we had a lot of boy bands, a lot of that pop stuff going on with the Britney Spears and the Jessica Simpson and all that. Just wanted to remember that. Now we can forget it again. And the year 2000 was an interesting year because we were just getting into all of the we're in the new millennium. It's exciting. And who was big? Was the Black Eyed Peas big in 2000? Well, share with me your favorite thing about 2000 at 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM is in Mike Matthews. Daily is in what this podcast has been for, since Tuesday. We have been doing it day in and day out. Let's see, 2 years ago, an interesting thing happened. I got a podcast picture that I will share with you from 2 years ago. Oh, there's Basil staring at a cat. Oh, 2 years ago. That's right. We were having all those flash floods. There was a ton of rain happening. And interesting. Okay. Well, I'll have a podcast picture for you in a moment. But first, are we just so paranoid now? We need to back off on the paranoia, don't we? I think the problem with all of our, social distancing and not doing this and not doing that, it's a shame if you don't get out there and patronize your local restaurants and the businesses that can stay open for you, that are considered essential. which probably will not be your gun shop. There was a gun shop in Castro Valley, Castro Valley, that closed up, and they were staying open for as long as they could, citing, Second Amendment gun rights and all that stuff. But now they're closed, and they put up a big stink, and it was like kind of from my cold, dead hands type thing. Like they're not going to close until that happens. But they did, and the podcast picture is of this interesting building somewhere in Oakland. We'll make it that, because it's got a clock in it, and it's been 2,000 episodes, and I'm done. I'm done. Not with the podcast, but I'm done looking. So you can see that at MikesDailyPodcast.com. But I don't like the fact that a lot of people are acting in a way that looks paranoia. And you know how the saying is, better safe than sorry. Well, yes, there's that saying. Caution is the better part of valor and all that crap. But what about paranoia will destroy you? I think we got to keep that in mind. Because we're getting a little bit too freaked out. So it takes about 2 weeks to get through the coronavirus. Nobody wants to catch it, but nobody wants to catch the flu either. And the flu is not fun. And that'll put you out for 2 weeks. So it's just, now Rand Paul has the coronavirus. And it doesn't mean he's going to die. It means he's got a very bad flu type thing. That's worse than the flu, obviously, but still, he's not going to die. I hope not. See, that's the whole thing, is we don't know, right? But there's chances are. I mean, Tom Hanks survived. Here's something that you might not know. And that's teenagers. This is my lovely lady friend. She found this because she surfs the internet. And Google News gives her all these stories that I don't necessarily think are true, but it kind of sounds like there's stories that you go, that could possibly be true. Teenagers going into stores and coughing on food, which, most food is packaged. Even if they coughed on meat, the meat is packaged with that cellophane. If you wash off your meat, do you wash off your meat before you cook it? I know a lot of people that do that. Put it under the sink, kind of wash it off. But I guess they're coughing on produce. Yet that's not really a thing. I mean, you wash your produce off anyway, don't you? So I don't know exactly why. It just sounds like something stupid teenagers would do, but teenagers, you're not doing anything. And chances are you probably don't even have the coronavirus, and you think so highly of yourself that you are that special that you do. Maybe you should get sick. But as we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcaster Valley 10 today. Do you know what happened today? Also in Podcaster Valley on this Sunday, my lovely lady friend and I, we stopped at a little bagel place. And I'm not going to say their name because they didn't give us free bagels. The bill came out to like $33. What, for bagel sandwiches and a couple drinks? Jeez. But yeah, afterwards, we went over to Lake Chabot, the Lake Chabot area. We were going to go to Lake Chabot. No parking at all. Yes. Social distancing, what? COVID-19, what? Yeah, no, everybody was out. Much to the chagrin of Governor Cuomo of New York, who is saying, what do I need to tell to you people? Stay at home. Don't go outside. Stay home. But he's not our governor. It's Gavin Newsom. Let's see if Gavin Newsom freaks out and says the same thing. So all these people were out walking their dogs. A lot of dogs being walked. Very nice to see. It's very nice. People outside, people talking to each other. Basically keeping the 6 feet distance from each other. But, I mean, it's a beautiful day in California, in the Bay Area. Why not go outside? I guess there are people, you got to stay inside. No matter what, stay inside. The wind is going to take the disease from the diseased people, and it's going to blow it up in the air, and then everyone's going to catch it, and everyone will have coronavirus and paranoia. Little common sense. Little common sense, Como. Como sense is what you need. Some of the positive things people are, going through because of all this corona virus is that they are getting to know their couches a little bit better because they're staying home. They're getting to know their couches and maybe lifting up the cushion and going, oh my, that's not good. Look at all of that weird breadcrumbs and everything else under there and sand. How did sand get there? Ew. And the little hair ties that my lovely lady friend has. What's all under this thing? Couch, cushions. Oh, there's a little bit of change too. But don't give the change. Oh, I heard that today. Don't bring your change to the local restaurants because the change has virus on it, coronavirus. And that's spreading the disease is money. Yeah, okay. Another reason why I have always been in favor of credit cards. I know it costs businesses. See, businesses hate this either way. They're getting disease from money that's been held by people, or they have to pay the extra points from the credit card. Credit card, it's a little bit easier because now, you know, the person ringing you up doesn't have to actually hold your credit card. You just do it all on your own and stick it in the little device. And they don't have to touch your stuff anymore, so that's good. But still, they have to pay them. I love credit cards. I had 5% back because I had the Chase thing. Chase Visa does that. I think you have a week left of getting $5 back on gas. And I think they're also doing anything you pay for bill-wise with your credit card. Stuff like phone bills, that kind of thing, you get 5% back if you pay with your credit card. Don't use your debit cards are bad ideas. Total bad idea. Easy to steal information and easy for people to steal all your money. People stealing credit card numbers, they can still use it and, you know, do the whole thing. But at the same time, the credit card company will give you your money back, generally. This is what I've heard anyway. So people are getting to know their couches. And people are also getting to do video chat more often. Video chat used to be a thing. Okay, it used to just be Skype. Everyone would say, you want a video chat? Let's Skype. Apple had their FaceTime thing with the phones. That worked great. Now Samsung has their own version of it on the phones. I don't know what they call it exactly, like video call something. Then you have Google that's got their own sort of... there's Google Chat, and then they have something called Duo. I think it's also Zoom. Zoom is huge. Everybody I know knows what Zoom is. It's amazing. And there's Discord. There's a bunch of other apps. And that is here to stay, folks. And that may be the new normal. We're using it so much these days. But, this is one thing I don't like, though, about all this coronavirus and COVID-19, and it's preachers. If you are a preacher at a church and you're preaching about the end times right now, shame on you. Shame on you for being opportunistic like that, playing on the fears of your congregation, trying to grab them by the feet, hang them upside down and get all the change out of them from their pockets, just dangling and shaking them. More money. As you're telling them about the end of the world and filling them full of fear, so they're giving you all their money. And then you're going to get diseased from the coins and the things that are falling out, the change that's falling out, because you should have just asked for their credit card. But still, do not do that, preachers. What is wrong with... I know you want to. You're tempted. It looks like the end of the world. It's something from an outbreak movie, a contagion movie. Gonna amp it up because you're all Hollywood. You want to be all Hollywood and death and despair and blood and rivers of the crying tears. No, stop it. And be very leery of your preacher that does that at your church. I would suggest leaving if your preacher does that, because that is a telltale sign. That preacher thinks of you as he's just using you, and that's the wrong thing. The wrong way. Don't go that way. That's the wrong way. So if we're so paranoid about the coronavirus being everywhere, and we're cleaning this and clean wiping that and clean wiping that, Lysol, Clorox wiping this, that, and everything else down, can you do me a favor while you're on such a frickin', charge to do all that. Please, clean up in general. Oh my gosh, they're the messiest people in the world. They are such hypocrites, and they're cleaning up with these wipes, these handy wipes there. And these are just people that you look at their workstation and it's crap everywhere. Yet, and yet they're all about cleaning, clean. And they've got like a office full of junk. Just, maybe in general too, they're cleaning the BART cars more often. How about just cleaning up entirely the whole Bay Area and get rid of all that pot smoke smell I smell everywhere. I smell marijuana everywhere I go. Or I used to. Not so much anymore because nobody goes outside anymore. But they're doing it at home. But like we used to get on BART, it would always just reek of all kinds of unholy things, and the marijuana and everything else. Let's clean up other stuff, and let's clean up. Have people that are stinking of horrible perfumes and cologne. Let's say they don't wash their hair for over a week. Let's send them back home. You know what? You're worse than contagious and carrying COVID-19. You stink. Go home. Clean up. Let's clean up everything if we're going to be cleaning up, is what I'm saying. Okay, that's all I had to say. Hey, this is a monumental podcast today because we went to 1,000 and... No, wait, we've gone past that, huh? We've gone to episode 2,000, and this is exciting. And if you'd like to let me know what you think about all this, you can call me 336-MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM is in Mike Matthews. Daily is in what this podcast will continue to try to be. I'm going to try and do one tomorrow. And at some point, I'd love to have my lovely lady friend on, and we can celebrate that we've gotten into a whole new range of numbers. The 2000 series. We will celebrate, I'm sure, at some point. But right now, let's say hi to some people at Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcaster Valley. New, control your music, videos, and more. Thank you, window, for popping up. Now go away. How do I get this will knock. There's no X button. Dang, Chrome. What is up with you? With you having this thing pop up that I can't now access the Mike's Daily Podcast website. Have you been to the Mike's Daily Podcast website, by the way? It's wonderful. It's got all kinds of, you know what? It's got all the podcast pictures. Like the one today of the building that I don't know what it is. This building apparently at one point was a big department store where people used to show up and give coronavirus or whatever the virus was of that time to each other. And it's in Oakland now. They did all this work to get it all revitalized. And nobody was in there. I walked in there. I just happened to see this door right next to where the BART popped up. This was about a week ago. Over a week. Way over a week, actually. And I see these doors. And I go, I wonder if this is open. What's inside of here? And I pushed the doors and they opened. And I walked in. There's nobody in this huge room. Like the size of a small mall. Nobody's in there. And this is before everything really cracked down with Newsom saying, shelter in place and all that. And I'm like, this is amazing. It was quite an interesting experience. Nobody was in there, which is very unusual for Oakland and the Bay Area, where people are just on top of people, on top of people, on top of people everywhere you go. Cars on top of cars on top of cars. Look who's here. Hi, Mac. It's Benita, the rodeo queen. How y'all doing?
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Tell you what.
What?
Don't you love how the sun is up and that you can walk around with your favorite honey and you can see all the stuff and the sky is blue and ZZ Top is playing on the radio.
Oh, hey, I watched a thing about ZZ Top on Netflix. Only thing wrong with this documentary was that it stopped at legs. She's got legs. Which I didn't know Billy Gibson sang all those songs, and he played guitar on all that stuff. And what a talented guy. And they've been performing since the 60s. That's how long those guys have been together. Kind of like Rush, they've been together forever. Actually, they outdid Rush as far as length of time together. But they are amazing. The story's amazing, but they stopped at legs. They didn't even talk about. They didn't even play. What was it? Sharp Dressed Man. Did they? Maybe they did. But they didn't talk about anything after that. Sleeping Bag, one of my favorite songs, Rough Boy. They didn't talk about Rough Boy. They didn't talk about Double Back, My Friend, from Back to the Future. They were in Back to the Future 3. Remember that? They didn't talk about You Got Me Under Pressure or anything. It just stopped. And it went back to the blues. Because that's what they are, I guess, is basically a blues band. Although they say we're not a blues band. We're more of a Texas band. And anywho, it was an interesting that. And we watched a documentary about how the Celts were all over Europe. Way before Jesus was born, there was Celts all over Europe. And basically, they were these really smart, technical metallurgist types. They were pretty interesting, and there's all kinds of archaeology you can find all over Europe about them. That was pretty cool. Oh, we watched a thing about Frank Lloyd Wright, too, and all of his amazing stuff. And he passed away in 1959. I didn't realize that. Right? He didn't even see the completion of the Guggenheim. That was the last big thing he built. And he came up with that idea. And most of his stuff is very flat and angular, and the Guggenheim is round and different. Look who else is here.
Oh, Mike, I make the delicious root beer. Have some right now. Let's celebrate. Oh!
Yay, celebrating 2,000 FF episodes. All right, well, more characters on, more celebration this week. Let's make it a week-long celebration, shall we? And you can celebrate, too. Why don't you give me a call for once? Get off your duff. You're sitting there at the couch all day. Just call me, 336-MM-DAILY, 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM is a Mike Matthews. Daily is what this podcast is called, Mike's Daily Podcast. And say hi and thank me, congratulate me, for gosh sakes. Show a little love.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.